And now we're doing our algebra review, part 3. We're going to review how to solve linear equations. So, couple rules, how to solve linear equations: distribute, then you do your group-like terms on each side of the equal sign, and then you're going to solve by isolating the variable. So, in this first problem, I see I have 3x plus 7 equals 19. I personally like to draw a line where the equal sign is. You don't have to. It helps me stay organized and that I did every operation on both sides. So the first thing I see is a plus 7. So I think to myself, what's the opposite operation? So instead of adding 7, the opposite is subtracting 7. Well, these 7s end up canceling each other out because 7 minus 7 is 0. So that's why they go away, because they become 0. I'm going to bring my 3x down. I'm going to bring my equal sign down. And then I have 19 minus 7, and I get 12. So if I notice here, 3x, that really means 3 times x. And the opposite of multiplication is division. So I'm going to show division on both sides with a fraction bar, and I divide by the number that's with the variable. So I divided by 3. So 3 divided by 3 is 1x. That's why there's x all by itself. And 12 divided by 3 is 4. So x equals 4. My next one, once again, like I said, I like to draw the line where the equal sign is just to help keep me organized. What I notice right away is that these guys are like terms. We're going to add those together. So 4 and 3 gets me 7a's. Now remember, it is not a squared because we're adding. It's like saying here's 4a's and here's 3 more a's. How many total a's do you have? You have 7 total a's. Bring down your equal sign and your 63. Once again, this is multiplication. It's like saying 7 times a. And the opposite of multiplication is division. So we use the fraction bar to show division and divide by the number with the variable, which is 7. So these two cancel because they end up equaling 1a, and 63 divided by 7 ends up to be 9. So a is equal to 9. All right, so here's my line through the equal sign. What I notice again is here are some like terms. So 12 minus 4x gets me 8x, then plus 7. Bring down the equal sign, and 79, so bring down everything you haven't used. So now I see that I have plus 7 right here, so the opposite of adding 7 is subtracting 7. So I end up with 8x is equal to 79 minus 7 ends up with 72. Once again, here is multiplication. The opposite of multiplication is division. I'm going to divide by 8, and you end up with x is equal to 9. Right, our next one. I'm drawing my line in. I see that there are parentheses here. So if I see parentheses with a number in the front, I should be thinking distributing. So I'm going to distribute the 3. 3 times 2 is 6x. 3 times negative 3 is negative 9. Now, this plus 5 is not inside the parentheses, so I'm just going to bring it down and not use it yet. Bring down my equal sign, bring down my 57. Now I notice on this side of the equal sign, I do have like terms. Here's 6x plus 5x. 6x plus 5x is 11x. Bring the minus 9 just down, and the equal sign and the 57 because we haven't used them yet. So if you notice, I have minus 9 right here, and the opposite of subtracting 9 is adding 9 because we want that to equal 0. Do it to the other side as well. So I get 11x is equal to 57 plus 9, which ends up to be 66. 11 times x, so the opposite of multiplication is division, and I show that with a fraction bar. Divide by 11, x is equal to 6. Our next problem, I'm going to draw my line where my equal sign is. This is called variables on both sides type. So because I have an x on the left-hand side of the equal sign and I have an x on the right-hand side of the equal sign. So I got to get one of these x's to go to the other side of the equal sign. So I always look for the lower number. Look for the lower number. So right here I have a -8, right here I have a +4. So -8 is smaller than 4. So I'm going to take this -8 and I'm going to move it to the other side. Now it truly doesn't matter which one you move, but it's always easier to do the smaller one. You deal with negatives less. So I see a -8x. So the opposite of subtracting 8x is to add 8x. So I'm going to add 8x to both sides. Those cancel because it comes 0. Bring down your 7 because we have not used it yet. An equal sign. We are going to add these together. So 4x plus 8x is 12x. Bring down your -17. So now I see -17. Remember, my goal is to get this x by itself, so this has to go away. So the opposite of subtracting 17 is to add 17. Those cancel to be 0. I bring the 12x down. So I have 7 plus 17, and you end up with 24. Now be careful, my x is over here. I want to get rid of the number with the x. So I'm going to divide by the 12, not the 24, because the 24 does not have the variable x. So x is equal to 2. And finally, we have another variables on both sides equation with a lot of stuff going on in here. So deal with one side at a time. So I'm going to deal with this side over here. I'm going to distribute because I see the parentheses. So 2 times 2 is 4x. 2 times 5 is plus 10. Bring down your equal sign. Now I'm going to look at the right-hand side. What I see is like terms. -3x plus 2. So -3x's plus 2 is a -1x. Bring down the -5. All right, so I see two variables on each side. So I have 4x and -1x. I choose the smaller one. So 4 and -1, -1 smaller. So if I do the opposite operation, I'm going to add 1x. 4 and 1 is 5x. Bring down the 10. Bring down the -5. Please be careful. See the minus sign in front of the 5. Make sure you keep it there. All right, so now I have plus 10. The opposite of adding 10 is subtracting 10. Do it to both sides. This becomes 0, so that's why it cancels. 5x is equal to -5 minus 10 is -15. Watch your negatives, don't leave them out. Divide by 5. X is equal to -3. Those are the notes for part 3.